So we're just sitting with one of the Birmingham males and an Ntsevu female. Looks as though it's the older looking male, and I must say his condition has bounced back quite significantly. Both of them look pretty well fed. Got a bit of blood on her face, a little bit on his face. We've just heard a few other lions calling in the distance, quite likely some of the other Ntsevu Pride females. And so she's been giving off a soft contact call, as well as he then gave off a gentle contact call. And then together they've just blown out a full-blown call. Pretty impressive to sit here with them. And we'll just stick with them for a bit longer because we know one of the Ntsevu females is keeping her cubs somewhere in the Sand River pretty close by here, so maybe they lead us to them. So the female's got up and she's heading off in the direction of where the other lions are calling from. Male's hung back for a little bit longer, but I'm sure he'll get up and follow her pretty soon. I think let's stay with that female and see where she goes. By sticking with her, we think she may have just led us to a den. We can hear some cubs calling in the drainage line. So this is some incredible news because we knew that one of the females was pregnant. Looks as though she'd given birth because we could see some suckle marks. The fact that we found this den is amazing. These cubs are probably about 2 weeks old, so they're tiny. They're very dependent on this mother and incredibly vulnerable. Still helpless, their eyes are hardly even open yet. They're stashed in underneath a log and some long grass in one of the drainage lines way down in the southeastern part of Londolozi. But it's just amazing to see that she has got some cubs, and this is just adding to the numbers within the Ntsevu Pride. But because they're so young, we're probably going to leave these cubs now and zone the area, which means that nobody's going to come here, just to give the mother and the cubs the best chance at settling in. And we don't want to put any added extra pressure with the vehicles. This afternoon we're in a sighting with the flat-rock male. He's got a small portion of an impala kill left, hoisted up in the most epic Jackalberry tree. We've arrived to him feeding on the kill, but my best guess is that he's going to feed on this as much as he possibly can. Doesn't look as though there's too much left, and once he's done he'll probably come down out of the tree, maybe rest on the ground somewhere nearby. So the flat-rock male, although the dominant male in the north, we don't get to see him all too often because his territory is enormous and he's constantly out on patrols, some of which take him far beyond the boundaries of Londolozi. We're very fortunate to find him here right in the middle of the northern parts of the reserve. So he's finished the kill and looks as though he's going to be coming down shortly. He just stopped to groom temporarily, and I'm sure once he's finished grooming he's going to come down and probably settle up somewhere at the base here. There is a waterhole very close, so there's every chance that he could go off and have a drink after that. It's been a very warm day, and we know that in between bouts of feeding, it's very likely that they'll go off and have a drink if there's water close enough. So he's starting to salivate quite a bit whilst he's grooming on the ground here, probably meaning that he's going to go for a drink. And so if he gets up, we're going to try and drive around as quickly as we can in order to get to the water hole before he gets there, and hopefully try and choose the right spot to get him drinking perfectly. The ideal shot that we want is him head on looking straight at us, and we get that eye contact with him. That's epic, we've nailed it. He's come down for a drink, walking along the bank there, trying to just decide exactly where he's going to drink, but he's settled down not too far from us here, and so we've got the perfect opportunity of getting that front on shot. So after him having finished his drink, he's just walked off behind these reeds here. What we're hoping for is for him to walk along those boulders in the background there. It'll be the most unbelievable eye-level shot with him walking past us. So he's just walked along the first part of the boulders and then ducked off behind there. There were some clip springers up on the rocks behind, alarm calling, so he probably didn't want to walk out into the open from there. He's ducked off and slinked along some of the reeds along the side there, helping keep himself a little bit more hidden. We can't really follow him through here, we'll probably get ourselves stuck, and we can't risk getting the pink pouch, so we're going to leave him here and probably start heading back to camp. This morning I'm coming to you with the sad news that the wild dogs and their pups have sadly moved on. They were last seen about 2 weeks ago, where Quite sporadically they then just got up and moved from one den, spent a night at another one, moved on to another one. Before we knew it, they'd headed off of Londolozi through the neighbouring reserves, and we had high hopes that they would maybe come back on, but after spending the last 2 weeks searching the deep south, we haven't been able to see them again. But I guess this just gives us a chance to actually reminisce and reflect back on how amazing it was to have a wild dog den here on Londolozi and be able to share it with you, all of the guests that were able to make it across to visit us here, as well as to somewhat document just a tiny little glimpse into the eyes or the life of a wild dog and the denning process. From the search to the build up to the finding of the den, right the way through from them starting off as 10 pups, then somehow being reduced down to 6. Before they moved on, there was only 4 left. They've moved through Sabi into the Greater Kruger, and so we're not too sure on the status of those pups. We're so grateful that this year the wild dogs didn't take us on a roller coaster ride like they did last year. At least here it was a bigger pack. The adults were able to provide for the pups a lot easier, with always being able to leave one of the adults behind as a babysitter. I mean, the dens they used were phenomenal. So we were spoiled with some incredible views this year, and very fortunate that we're able to share as much of it with you. However, it was quite difficult in order to document it. We were able to put a lot of the guest vehicles in there and allow the guests some time to actually view and just spend the time there. But it's been an incredible journey, and we hope for the sake of the wild dog species that these pups are able to survive and help boost the numbers in the country. Sometimes wild dogs will come back and reuse the same dens from previous years, and so fingers crossed that next year we may have them returning to us.